for other folk to. Thanks.
Great. Thank you to the TCAC community, all the leadership, and for all the members that are on. Thank you for having us again. This is an encore to the last group engagement that we had. So we are very excited to be back on. Now, presentation-wise, I think what we're going to do is just go over briefly an overview of triple nickel resources and the services that we have. The period today will be mainly motivated by questions that are going to come from the community. So we're hoping to hear more from you so that the information that we present to you will be complemented by the questions and the responses that come from you. So my name is Doreen. I'm one of the senior consultants with Triple Nickel Resources, and I have my colleagues and partners, John Charissa and Leslie Osakwe on. I'll let them introduce themselves as well.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be back again. I'm Leslie Osakwe. I am also a Triple Nickel associate. I am the immigration portion. I also operate under D2CIS Immigration Services. And I'm probably going to be addressing most of your questions and answering them as well today. Thank you for having me again.
Hello to you all. My name is John Charissa, Senior Consultant at Triple Nickel. And I am happy to meet you guys and answer your questions related to training and skills development.
Perfect. So I think first what we'll do is have maybe John give a brief overview of Triple Nickel Resources, because I see that there are quite a few new faces, new names. I can't see everybody's face, but they're definitely new people. So just to give you a little bit of background on that. And then after that, Leslie will give an overview of the role that immigration plays with Triple Nickel Resources. And then how we can just kind of give you guys some overall information. So go ahead, John.
Okay, so in brief, Triple Nickel Resources is a skills development company that is focused on skilled trades, mainly, for example, boiler makers, millwrights, welders, electricians, pipe fitters, and you name it. And having experience of over 27 years in the trades, and having worked in Africa, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, United States, the experience that I have had in terms of contributing to development of industry in all these countries is I have realized that in Africa, we do not have curriculum or training that is customized to the resources that we have, and hence the need for us to focus on skills development on the continent that will help us in terms of development, since we are a generation that is coming to the end of their capabilities, and there is need for us to impart our skills and knowledge to the next generation that is coming. But also on the other hand, as we have migrated, moved to Canada through trades, we feel we should also offer an opportunity to our brothers and sisters on the continent to come over to Canada and get a chance to upskill themselves or expose themselves to development of industry, which will also help us back home. Since we have seen the reason why we are migrating here is because there's no progress when it comes to industrial development, which boosts economic growth. And that knowledge and that exposure is important for us to share. And hence we need to help our brothers migrate to Canada through trades. I could say a whole lot, but in a nutshell, this is why we are here, to help, to assist, to give direction, since we are connected to companies that are offering jobs and opportunities for those who want to migrate. And also, since we are involved in skills development training, that we would like to help our brothers and sisters take on so that they are able to migrate to Canada. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Triple Nickel, for that brief of your company, what you do. And I hope our guests will, or the information you give us, shed some light. So I don't know whether your partners, by that I mean Doreen and Leslie, whether they would like to add anything before we open the stage for questions.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alice. So we'll have Leslie again give an overview of the role of immigration. Afterwards, we should be ready to start taking questions.
Thank you, Doreen. So Leslie, welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, immigration is pretty important. Obviously, everybody's here today because they're curious about jobs, possibility of immigrating or studying in Canada or possibly other places. Just to give you a brief synopsis of how things work here in Canada, the immigration system has been in place for a long time. Within the last 20 years, they've done significant overhauls to the system. Plus going through a pandemic in the last few years too has changed the trajectory of what the immigration minister has been doing. We basically have a bunch of different classes in the immigration sector for Canadian immigration. We have family class, we have travelers or visitors visa, we have family sponsorship, we have study permits, we have work permits, temporary and permanent, that can transition you into permanent residency, depending on which area you come through and what your plans are. With Triple Nickel, as a worker, what it does for you is if you were to get a job offer, say some of you guys may have applied for express entry. Express entry encompasses skilled trades, as well as professionals with degrees, masters, and PhDs. If you were to come through one of those programs, you're going to need some assistance possibly with putting together the paperwork. So maybe you would need a letter of submission. You may need an invitation letter for when you land here in Canada and meet CBSA. CBSA is our border officers. So as soon as you get off of the plane, they're going to ask you, what are you doing here? You show them your letters, and then a letter of introduction could present you and lay out all of the information, so it's not so uncomfortable when you get there and you're standing in front of the officer trying to explain yourself. My role is to navigate you through the process and to make it smoother. A lot of times people take it on themselves competently to submit the paperwork for themselves, and then a few months later, or maybe even longer down the road, they hear back and say, oh, this is missing, or your case has been denied, or your file is on hold because we're waiting for something. My job as an immigration consultant in conjunction with Triple Nickel is to make sure we set you up for the best possible outcome. Immigration is not guaranteed. As a consultant or even as an immigration lawyer, what my job is to do is to get you set up, offer all the best services, so complete front to back of putting the application together. If you're missing anything, make sure we collect those documents, put together a strong submission letter. So when you do go to the embassy or the consulate in your area, or you land here in Canada for your work or for your studies or for your soft landing for permanent residency, you have everything, all your ducks in a row, so to speak. And just to make the process smoother, an easier transition for you.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Anything, Doreen, do you want to add before we open the audience for questions?
I think we should go ahead with the questions and then hear from what everybody may be curious about or need some clarifications with. So go ahead, please.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, all of you, for such a brief and for your introduction of what you do. So, audience, as I mentioned before, now is time for you to ask all the questions you want to ask. And Catherine is monitoring, so she's co-hosting and helping me to organize who gets to ask first. So you can raise your hand, and then Catherine will keep her eyes whose hands went up first, and you'll be picked. But if we miss you, we'll get to you, and we'll get to the questions. So once you raise your hand, Catherine will call your name or whatever name that appears coming on call, and ask you to unmute yourself and ask your questions. And once you're done with your question, please mute yourself, and so we can allow our presenters to answer the question. Thank you. Catherine, to you.
Hello everybody. So there's no hands yet, so maybe we give it a few minutes since people are digesting what has been presented. I'll continue monitoring. Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine. I know that sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming to ask questions in such a large group. So feel free to text it out, or maybe even text the leaders, because we are here to answer your questions. Maybe I can just speak a little bit, just kind of on the role of the diaspora. And you know, the reason we're engaging the diaspora, because we have, I think, a great opportunity. And then we have this opportunity where we have to be the voice of change. And so that's why we are getting connected with different communities, just so that we can let everybody know what is available in terms of opportunities, whether it be, you know, here in Canada, or through some of the companies that we have. It could mean opportunities in other parts of the world. One of the things that, you know, our team wants to do is give an opportunity for our brothers and sisters on the continent to be on even playing field. And what I mean by that is, with the knowledge and networks that we have, we can change the way that opportunities are presented globally. So we are talking about skills training. We know that oftentimes when, you know, there are job opportunities, whether it's in Canada or Australia, you often have to meet criteria. You have to have certain, you know, training and skills in order to even be eligible for a job. So naturally, by default, we are often excluded from these opportunities because we don't have those certifications that everybody else has that is recognized internationally. So one of the things that we are changing is making sure that we have a platform, we have an opportunity for our brothers and sisters to also have the same internationally recognized certification, so that we are on that even playing ground. So that when there is an opportunity, our brothers and sisters have the same opportunities as everybody else. So, you know, think about your brothers, your sisters, you know, maybe friends or other relatives that are in some of these skilled trade areas. If they don't already have experience, perhaps it's something that they may consider getting into. And then if they're looking for a place to go for training, you know that you can come to Triple Nickel Resources, and then we can get you guys started from the beginning. So at the point where you're asking questions, maybe you're curious, to the point where we can have our immigration look at the experience, our immigration consultant, Leslie, look at your experience and training and background to see if perhaps you are able to qualify for some of these opportunities that are available here in Canada or in other parts of the world. So I hope that gets you thinking a little bit, and maybe some questions pop up. So I'll bring it back to moderators.
Okay, so I see one hand, Alex Carria. Go ahead.
And after him, Catherine, I saw Geoffrey, he typed that he couldn't see where the hand is. So you can allow him to speak afterwards then.
Okay, so Alex Caria, you can go ahead with your question.
Alex, labda uko kwenye mute. Try to unmute yourself, then ask the question. Thank you.
Hello. Mnanisikia?
Ndio,
Ndio.
Sister Alice na Sister Catherine na Uncle Juma, nawashukuru sana kwa kitu kikubwa hichi mlichokianzisha. Mmetupa hope na kitasaidia vijana wengi wa Kitanzania kwa sababu they have a dream to kuja Canada. Ni good country na ina opportunity nyingi, lakini njia za kufanikisha kuja hapo ndo changamoto. Mimi nilikuwa na swali. Let's say, nadhani mnajua mazingira yetu ya nyumbani, kuna watu ni unskills. Hii organization inawezaje kuwasaidia nao waweze kupata opportunity ya kuja, mtu ambaye hana skills, labda knowledge yake ya shule ni ndogo, anawezaje kusaidia mtu kama huyu kuweza kuja hapo? Hilo ndio lilikuwa swali langu. Na cost zao zinakuaje? Ndio lilikuwa swali langu. Asante.
Asante sana Alex, na tunashukuru kwa hilo. Basi nitamwachia ukumbi Alice ukitranslate hilo swali kwa the Triple Nickel Company.
Asante dada Catherine, asante Alex. Alex, ningeomba ufafanue zaidi kidogo juu ya hilo swali. Umesema hawana elimu. Elimu yao ya mwisho ni wapi? Maana hata hawa watu wa Nickel wakitaka kukusaidie inabidi wajue level yako ni ipi, then they come to meet you where you are ili wakuendeleze zaidi. Sasa huyu mtu tunazungumzia darasa la 7, tunazungumzia form 4, form 6, degree ya kwanza, ama ni vipi? Alex, naomba jibu kabla sijatafsiri. Asante.
Yeah, unakuta mwingine ni form 4, labda ana certificate, ana diploma. Sasa kwa vigezo vyao mtu kama huyo ana qualify kwa sababu wengi kwa level ya nchi yetu, nadhani Tanzania, Sister Alice, unajua vijana wengi wanaishia level labda ya form 4, amefanya tu certificate, diploma, alafu unakuta hajaajiriwa, yuko anajitafutia tu, lakini anaweza kuqualify kusaidiwa nao watu ambao wanasaidia migrant ambao wanahitaji kuja hapo.
Okay, thank you.
Asante my sister.
So to Triple Nickel, Alex is wondering if understanding our country and the youth or young people education level. So most of them, they don't have first degree. They probably ended up with grade 12 or grade 14. For us, it's 2 more years after grade 12. Or some of them after grade 12, they have a diploma. And they've been, hustling in the country, trying to make their way out. So for these kind of individuals, how can you help them? Are they even meeting the baseline for you to top up their education? Or as what you're saying, you're trying to upgrade their credentials so that they can be on the same basis of those who are Canadians or people who are in Canada, or those who could qualify for these types of jobs that we're talking about? And if so, what are the costs? Thank you.
I would like to speak to that. Thank you, Alex, for your question. I think it's a bit of both, Alice, because just because you have high school or a junior diploma or a college certificate doesn't mean that you don't necessarily qualify. Immigration in Canada is economically driven, but each province has its own specific requirements. So I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with the express entry, like I had mentioned before. It's looking for, degree, master's, PhD people. It's looking for people with skilled trades persons. But we also have another sector which has emerged strongly, especially during the pandemic, where we have economic deficits. One area I can think of, healthcare, caregiver support. We also have another area, hospitality. We have a deficit in customer service, sales, and retail. If you go to the Atlantic Canada, which is the furthest east that you can go in Canada. That province, those 4 provinces out there are looking for people with fishing skills, mining skills. A lot of the times, if you graduate from high school, you can go and get a job and work in retail, for example, for 4 years. We have to show proof of your work history in any event, whether you're coming in at express entry skilled, whether you're coming in at semi-skilled, whether you're coming in, we call it unskilled as well. So some of those jobs may be considered unskilled because you just graduate high school and you take that job and you have, you know, been working in it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and so on. The goal is for the immigration process to show proof that you have practiced or in the field that you are working. So for example, if Alex is working as a retail manager or a retail assistant, he should obtain a letter of reference from the place that he's working to substantiate the fact that he's worked at that place. And then talk about the skills that he's gained from it, the size of the team he's managed, his salary, what goes into that job. You know, if you can show proof that you've done those things, and then apply to one of the provinces, one of the various provinces or territories that are looking for in-demand workers in retail or in-demand customer service roles, you would have a shot. You also have to meet other criteria though. So in Canada, we have 2 official languages, English and French. If you can meet the requirements for the language standard, each province does have a different language standard if we were to go through something called provincial nomination. But the higher your scores are in your language and in your language scores for English and French, the better opportunity you would have. So it's not just one thing or the other, it's a culmination of minimum requirements, mandatory immigration requirements, as well as your job skill set. I hope that answers your question. John, can you speak a little bit more to the trade sector, if you don't mind? Thank you.
Okay, so that was, thank you, Leslie. Thank you for that detailed answer. In regards to trades, your question is very important because that is the main concern for most people in the diaspora, to say, well, I have relatives, brothers, sisters, cousins back home who I would like to migrate and join us here, but unfortunately they do not have certain qualifications because of the way we have been conditioned to think that the only way to succeed is either being a doctor, being a nurse, or being whatever. But there's other areas in regards to skills that are critically important, especially in the West and in North America. For example, welding skills. A welding certification or welding skills, that is $100,000 certification here in Canada. And there is a serious demand for welders in the country. To the extent that, for example, I am working on a turnaround shutdown maintenance project on an oil refinery here in Saskatchewan. And we are very desperate for welders and tradesmen, to the extent that we cannot man up the jobs. We are being forced to take permits or people with no qualifications straight from McDonald's to help us on these projects. So what we have done as Triple Nickel is we have partnered with Canadian Welding Bureau. We've also partnered with American Welding Society to offer training programs in Africa, and especially to accommodate those who do not have the academic qualifications, but who are very capable and could contribute to industry or to the economy locally and also the global economy. And for example, we have just opened up a training center in South Africa where we are offering a skills training in steel fabrication and welding. And The certification is targeted on two skilled men and skilled women who are already qualified and who would like to certify to an internationally recognized certification, which does not take them a week or two to transfer. That is if they have the experience. And we also have programs that are targeted to the group of those who are in training already, which is a 6 to 8 week program. And at the end of 6 to 8 week program, it's an intensive program. They have a certification that is internationally recognized. Not only that, it is also locally recognized, because all our certifications in Africa are always matched or are supposed to be equivalent to internationally recognized certification like AWS or the Australian certification or South African Institute of Welding Standards. So we have that second group that is already in training that could go for a 6 to 8 week program. And then we have another group that can go for a 6 months training. From scratch, at the end of 6 months, they have their qualification, which probably in Tanzania or in any other African country would take them 3 years to acquire. But we can go on an intensive program that can train someone from 0 to 100 in a very short space of time. And then we also have programs for those who are in high school. And I am talking 15 years going up, who could go on a 1-year program, which is 6 months in the first year and another 3 to 6 months in the second year. And in that way, they can fast track their way into industry, because we've realized with our experience, most of our people only get to understand engineering or only get to understand how the global industry works once they've been in industry. I can speak on behalf of many African engineers who only get to understand things after they've had their degree and they're on site, of which it's ridiculous for us as a people this day and age to only get to understand things as that at that age when the white folks are getting to understand those things at 13 years old. They can drive a tractor, they can weld, they can do all kinds of things on the farm. And this is why we are always dragging, we're always left behind, we're not developing as African economies. And this is the reason why Triple Nickel, together with D2 Immigration Services, that is why we've come together to help everyone on the continent, the young generation, step up to the next platform, get them to migrate, get them to upskill, to boost their economies, or if they want to migrate. That is why we have started this initiative. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question.
In length. Thank you.
Thank you.
Triple Nickel Group for all your contribution to answer this question. So the answer was detailed, which I appreciate. Alex, I'm just, okay. I have to change back to Swahili now. Okay, Alex, wamejibu swali lako kwa kina. Sasa nitajaribu tu kufupisha na kuleta maana kwako kwa swali lako. Sasa uliuliza program, wanazo program nyingi kwa hao watu ambao hawana elimu kubwa, na hizi program wanasaidia haswa kwa zile kampuni ambazo zinatafuta wafanyakazi kwa sana, na hizi zinatofautiana kwa maeneo vile vile. Kwa mfano, kuna wahudumu wa afya, kuna manesi, kuna shughuli kama za hotelini, kuna shughuli za kuuza maduka kama hizi maduka ya vyakula, grocery store. Kuna shughuli zingine za uvuvi, za madini. Sasa hizi mtu anaweza kuomba, kuna mambo mengi ambayo anatakiwa kuyakamilisha. Kwanza, historia ama uthibitishaji wa kusema kwamba huyu mtu alishafanya hizi shughuli, kama unavyosema huko nyumbani wanahangaika wakishughulikia mambo yao. Sasa kama ameshafanya kazi vile, labda alikuwa pale feri akisaidia sijui mjomba, ama ameajiliwa hapo anavua samaki, itabidi aombe barua ya kuthibitisha kwamba alikuwa akifanya hizo shughuli za uvuvi, kwa sababu hicho ndio kama tiketi yake anaombea ya kuja huku Canada. Vile vile kama alikuwa labda ni kiongozi sijui manager, anaweza kujumuisha hiyo pia katika barua yake ya maombi. Wameuzungumzia mshahara, lakini sidhani kama hiyo ni muhimu, kwa sababu ukizingatia mshahara wa nyumbani ni mdogo mno. Sasa hiyo labda ukienda kuongea nao ofisini utakuelewesha zaidi, lakini kwangu mimi kwa mtazamo binafsi sidhani kama itakusaidia sana, kwa sababu pesa unaolipwa nyumbani ni ndogo sana ukilinganisha na wanaolipwa huku, na matumizi ya huku ni makubwa. Kwa hiyo wasije wakakupimia kipimio kulingana na ile pesa ulikuwa ukilipwa Tanzania. Kwa hiyo kwa mtazamo wangu naona sio, lakini wao walisema hiyo inabidi uweke pia na mshahara. Kingine ambacho cha kuzingatia ni lugha. Sasa huku Canada kuna majimbo tofauti tofauti, na vile vile kuna makampuni tofauti tofauti. So kulingana na unakwenda wapi, jimbo gani, kampuni gani, watakuuliza habari ya lugha. Kila mtu ana masharti yake. Kama ni mtihani, mwingine labda anataka ufike 400, mwingine 600, mwingine 800. Au watu wa Chuponiko watakuelewesha ni wapi, kwa sababu wao wana hizo habari zote. Sasa hawawezi wakakupa hizo zote kwa sababu hiyo ni specific issue. Yaani ni kampuni fulani ama ni shughuli fulani zinatofautiana. Sasa mpaka hapo utakapofika maofisini kwao. Kingine wamezungumza ambacho nimeona ni kizuri sana na kitaweza kusaidia vijana ni nyumbani. Wamezungumzia shughuli ambazo zinatafutwa sana huku. Vitu kama kwenye machimbo ya madini na mafuta, vitu hivi vya kuchomelea vyuma. Unaunganisha haya mapipe, sijui mapipeline unachomea. Sasa ukiwa na hiyo wenyewe wanaita welding certificate, ukiwa nayo hiyo itakusaidia sana. Ila hata kama huna, hichi kitu ambacho nimependa sana hao wanafanya ni kwamba wanatoa elimu. Na hata wameshafungua na new program wanayo South Africa, kwa yule ambaye mtu hana hiyo elimu, wanatoa elimu kwa kujifunza mambo ya vyuma, ya kama nilivyosema, uchomaji wa vyuma na kutengeneza pipeline hayo. Wanafanya shughuli hizo, kwa hiyo mtu anaweza kufanya, na hii elimu inatolewa kwa wote, wanawake, wanaume. Unapata certificate kwa muda mfupi tu, kama wiki 2 unaweza ukapata hiyo. Cha muhimu Alex ni kwamba hii shughuli unaifahamu, unachotaka tu ni cheti, ni ile udhibiti, na hicho cheti wanachokupa wao kinafanana na mahitaji yanayotaka huku, yaani hizo qualifications zao utakuwa umemeet, kwa sababu wao wanashughulika directly na hayo makampuni ambayo yatakupatia wewe kazi. Vile vile wana program zingine za kutrain mtu kwa wiki 6 mpaka 8. Yani hii training ni ya nguvu, naweza nikasema, ambayo pia ni ya mambo hayo ya kuchomelea vyuma, inatambulika internationally, ulimwenguni. Na wewe unakuja Canada, na hapa Canada wanaitambua. Kwa hiyo unaweza ukafanya hivyo. Nyingine pia wanayo ya muda wa miezi 6. Hii wewe ni sifuri, huna chochote, umemaliza tu form 4, sijui form 6, unatafuta kazi za namna hii. Umesikia Canada kuna nafasi ya mambo ya kuchomelea vyuma na mapaipu kwenye mambo ya machimbo ya mafuta huko na gas, hawa wanakufundisha hiyo elimu ya miezi 6, ambayo ukilinganisha na mtu mwingine labda wa Tanzania ama wa kwingine kokote itakuchukua kama miaka 3. Sasa hawa ya kwao ni intensive, na ukitoka hapo una qualify kuanza kazi. Na hii pia hata kama tu umemaliza form 4 unaweza ukajiunga, ama ulikuwa unafanya vitu vingine unaweza ukajiunga. Sasa hawa Triponiko vile wanafahamu zaidi, yani wana makampuni mengi ambayo yana shughuli mbalimbali unaweza ukafanya. Kwa hiyo ukiwapitia wao wataweza kukusaidia na kuhakikisha, kwa sababu wana wakili hapo wanafanya naye. Huyo dada Leslie, kama nimeelewa vizuri, ni wakili ambaye anashughulika na mambo haya, kwa sababu kitu kikubwa mno kinakwamisha watu ni vile hajui kitu gani cha kuandika, hajui vitu gani vinatakiwa. Kwa hiyo hata ule muda wanaotumia kuapply unakuwa umekwenda haraka, alafu hajafanikiwa. Lakini ukipitia kwao watakusaidia kukufanikishia. Bei kamili hawajatoa, lakini hii nafikiri ninadhani itatofautiana kulingana na program. Sasa sijui kama ulikuwa unataka bei unayotaka wewe unauliza ya nini, kwa sababu kila programu hapa kwa uelewa wangu tu haraka haraka bei zitakuwa zinatofautiana. Ama ulikuwa unauliza bei ya service yao kabla hujaingia kwenye programu yoyote? Alex, naomba jibu. Asante.
Hello.
Na kusikia kwanza jibu langu umelielewa? Nimejibu swali lako, maana nilijaribu, wameeleza mambo mengi mno, nimejaribu kukueleza kwa kirefu, lakini nimejaribu kusummarize vile vile. Sijui umeelewa?
I get a lot my sister.
Okay, vizuri. Sasa kwa bei kama ulivyoelewa majibu yao, nadhani utaelewa kwamba hasa bei zitatofautiana kulingana na kwamba unaenda program gani. Sasa wewe cost uliokuwa unataka kujua ni cost ya nini?
Cost ambayo nilikuwa nahitaji kujua ni kama let's say, yani mtu ndo anaanza kwao, utatakiwa ulipe shilingi ngapi, ili kwa sababu naamini kama umewatafuta au Triponiko lazima watakwambia kwamba amount unayotakiwa ulipe ni hii hapa, tutakuhitaji ulete valid passport, tutakuhitaji ulete labda covid test ama hiyo covid vaccinated, labda na nani yako na vyeti vyako na nini. Sasa nilikuwa nahitaji kwamba cost yao ya kuanza ili wakufanyie evaluation kwamba wewe una qualify kwenye program yoyote, ndio nilikuwa nahitaji kujua hiyo.
Asante, nimekuelewa. Ngoja niulize, watakupa jibu. Okay, Triponiko, Alex is grateful for your answers. So he was wondering the cost, like I understand now, is like a service cost. So he wants to come and use your service for you to explain to him, whatever he needs may take this long and may cost this much. So your service cost is how much? That's what he wants to know.
Consultation fee for 1 hour conducted over Zoom, WhatsApp, Office Teams is $170 Canadian.
Okay, thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
So, Alex, a consultation fee, they charge, wana charge hiyo kwa muda wa masaa. Maana huko Ulaya watu wanafanya kazi kwa masaa. Kwa hiyo kwa lisali moja wanahitaji kulipwa dola za Kikanada 170. Kwa hiyo kama hayo maswali yako na maelekezo watakayoweza kukupa yatamalizia hapo, hiyo muda wa lisali moja utadaiwa hiyo 170. Kama yatazidi, you do the math, yani unaongezea tu hapo, ila charge yao ndio hiyo. Umeelewa?
Yeah, nimeelewa. Lakini
if I can just add something to that, and I think John wants to add to it as well. So with our platform, one of the things that we encourage those interested in, connecting with Triple Resource, if you have, work experience, if you have any training, we have a database of skilled workers So what we would encourage you to do is to go to the Triple Nickel website and just upload your CV. Because this way we have your information in the database. And then the next step would be to connect with Leslie for a consult, because each person's case is very unique. And then it does require a one-on-one so that you can provide Leslie with all of your information, and then she will guide you in that hour as a starting point of, and then she will give you a very good indication as to, you know, if it is a good and appropriate, you know, initiation point, and anything else, Leslie can do that. John, I think you were going to say something.
Okay, I was going to say the immigration part is important, as Leslie has elaborated. As for the skills part and getting a good virtual tour of understanding Triple Nickel services and opportunities that are there for your brothers and sisters and how they can get on board with us, feel free to call anytime, email. It doesn't matter what time of the day, we'll get back to you. And we are there to give you a good understanding of how you can migrate, or if you do not want to migrate, how you can empower your brothers and sisters on the continent with skills, because that's the most important. We need Africa to be on the driving seat of directing the global economy where it's supposed to go for our survival. And we have a very young population, the highest young population in Africa, and we need to equip those guys with skills, whether they want to migrate or they want to stay on the continent. There's a lot of opportunities everywhere. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add to what John said. It's really important for you to recognize that immigration is great, but I feel like, I don't know how many of you guys have had the opportunity to go to Triple Nickel website. It in itself is a special resource where you can, you know, look through and see all the different courses that they're offering. If you see a course there that may correlate with what the job that you're in right now, or maybe the field that you're interested in studying, maybe coming abroad to do, then look there first. If you see that, oh yeah, I might be interested in welding and fabrication, or maybe I'm interested in one of the other courses that they're doing. Those courses do have individual separate fees if you are already skilled in them, to bring you up to international North American standards or the other standards that we have. If you complete those courses, or once you complete those courses, then I would say, instead of coming to immigration first, do what you have to do in Triple Nickel first. Get yourself certified, get yourself up to date. Like Doreen said, upload your resume and see if it fits anything, any of the profiles that you see there, and then get in contact with me. And we can flesh out and see, you know what, maybe you don't want to necessarily come to Canada to immigrate permanently. Maybe you just want to study. Maybe you just want to come on a visitor's visa to check the place out. Maybe you'll come to Canada and not like it and decide you want to go somewhere warmer like Australia. You know, there could be so many different things, you know, but it's important for you to see the possibilities that are not just available to us that are here at this meeting, but like I said, like the diaspora in general. There are a lot of opportunities here work-wise, but it's important for us to take the skills that we already have and make sure that they translate over here so that you have a fair shot. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Doreen. And also thanks, John. So Alex, kutokana na majibu yao mashauri, kwanza kabisa wanawashauri upitie website yao. Nimeona dada Catherine ameitoa hapo website yao. Utajifunza mengi huko na pengine unaweza ukajijibu maswali mengi sana huko. Baada ya hapo, dada Doreen alishauri pia ukijiona, dada Leslie amesema kama unajiona hujafit kulingana na kile unataka kufanya, unaweza ukachanganua huko ni courses gani ambazo zinaweza zikakusaidia ku-upgrade ili ufikie ile process, sema kama baseline ya Triple Nickel kukusaidia wewe ku-migrate kuja Canada. Kwa hiyo na ukishaweka mambo yako sawa, unaweza upload email kama alivyoshauri dada Doreen. Pia kaka John amejitolea, amesema unaweza ukapiga simu ama ukaandika email kama ukiwa na swali katika huu mchanganuo. Kwa mimi mtazamo wangu inakuwa kama vile mtu unatafuta shule sijui ama unatafuta kazi, hata kama uko nyumbani ama unatafuta shule international. Inabidi wewe mwenyewe kwanza ujielimishe, upite uko shule. Wana program gani? Zina cost kiasi gani? Zinachukua muda gani? Wana requirement gani? Ujipime hiyo na resume yako, uone wewe umetoshea ama hujatoshea. Na kama hujakaa sawa, basi uangalie hizo requirements zao zimefikia wapi. Kuna kitu walizungumza mwanzo hapa cha lugha. Kwa hiyo hapo inabidi ujiangalie na wewe Kiingereza chako kimekalia wapi. Na wao pia wana courses mbalimbali. Amezungumza dada Leslie hapa. Inawezekana kumbe ulikuwa tu unataka kujiongeza kielimu, si lazima hati migrate Canada, lakini ukaziona courses za Triponico ambazo ukafanya huko nyumbani, ukajielimisha, kwa sababu hizi courses zao kama walivyoeleza mwanzoni ni internationally recognizable na zina match pia na hiyo nchi unanani. Kwa hiyo imagine kama umekufanya training za welding ambazo zina qualify hapa Canada na huko Tanzania zita qualify, ukaweza kufanya kazi sehemu nyingine ukawa sawa, kwa sababu si kila mtu anapenda kuja Canada, ni vile tu mahitaji ya kiuchumi. Lakini kama Triponico wanaweza kukusaidia kwa kozi zao, ukajiongeza kielimu, kitaaluma, kiufundi, ukajipatia hapo kipato kwa kupitia hizo kozi zao, na yenyewe sio mbaya. Inaleta maana Alex. Alex upo?
Nipo my sister. I get you.
Umeelewa hapo?
Yeah, nimeelewa. I learn it a lot.
Asante. Basi dada Catherine, unaweza ukakaribisha mtu mwingine ili na wengine pia waulize maswali. Muda umekwenda, tumebakiwa na kama nusu saa iliyobaki. Asante sana kaka Alex kwa swali lako. Najua wengi wamejifunza, wameelewa hapo na wanaona hapo mtazamo. Asante sana.
Basi kwa wale ambao umetujoin wakati meeting ilikuwa imeshaanza, tumekuwa na hii kampuni Triponico ikifanya presentation today, na huu sasa ni muda wa maswali mbalimbali. Nafikiri wengi mmelisikia swali la Alex. Basi kama kuna mtu mwingine ana swali, nafikiri mtu mwingine ambao alikuwa online kuuliza swali ilikuwa Geoffrey. Basi kama Geoffrey uko available kuuliza swali, tunakupa muda kwa sasa. Na kama tulivyosema, kama kuna mwingine ana swali, unaweza tu kanyosha mkono. Kama huwezi kunyosha mkono, unaweza tu kaandika kwenye chat kwamba una swali. Na vile vile kwa wale ambao mmejoin kidogo late, mkutano wetu leo tumekuwa tuna switch back and forth kutoka kwenye Kiingereza, Kiswahili, Kiingereza, kwa sababu wa presenter wetu hawazungumzi Kiswahili. Kwa hiyo wewe uliza swali jinsi ulivyo comfortable. Ukitaka kuzungumza kwa Kiswahili, uliza swali kwa Kiswahili, tutajaribu kutranslate ili wapate kuelewa. Wakitujibu tutairudisha back tena kwa Kiswahili. Basi karibu sana Geoffrey. Alafu mwingine atakayeingia baada ya Geoffrey ni Magesa Mashauri. Naona nao umenyosha mkono kaka. Geoffrey, karibu.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I guess in the interest of time, I'll try to put my broken English together. Thank you the host. This is my first time here. I just have to be honest, I'm still just a little bit confused, and I think the reason is because maybe it's my first time. It's my first time to just one of my friends sent the link to me, so I have not been to your website. However, I was interested with the service that you guys are providing, because I have several people that always ask me to migrate to Canada, but I'm just not very well versed into this space, and I've asked around. I just haven't found enough information on how I can help them. And to the previous questionnaire, the gentleman, I think he asked the issue on level of education, because a lot of people, I'm sure we know some people, especially back home, they are not as the level of the degree. Some of them have maybe have the high school, but they just don't have the skills that are needed. Now, I just have maybe a few questions. One, in terms of tradesmen, I know the gentleman did mention that you guys have, I think his name John, that you guys have opened a school, I believe, in South Africa. Do you have a plan, any scaling plan? Is this, same sort of similar school be opening in maybe in East Africa? And when you open these schools in these countries, whether, I don't know, 6 weeks or maybe 6 months for those without experience, what's the cost? That's just for training. Let's say for 6 months, what's the cost? Obviously, each country will probably be different. And then the second part is that if someone, let's say, has a bit of an experience, I think John did explain that some of the, you might have an experience in Africa, but maybe it does not fit exactly with the standards that are required here in Canada. What do you guys maybe do to maybe help those, say, hey, you know what, these are the things that you need to do in order to meet the standards. And let's say they've met the standards. What is your role? Because some of these people, they probably don't know. Okay, maybe I need to go to the province of I don't know, Nunavut or Ontario, British Columbia. Do you guys help them maybe to apply? Obviously, that comes with cost. I'm trying to get sort of the clear picture on and I know each situation is different, but if you could be maybe kind enough, or maybe some of those questions they probably might be on are those issues explained maybe on your website. And then the last one is for the host is this. I know this Zoom call is being recorded. Would you guys be kind enough to provide the recordings? Because I have a couple of folks here in British Columbia that I think will be interested to hear this, and maybe that might be also good business for Triple Nickel. Thank you.
Thank you, Geoffrey, for the question. And for the benefit of time, Triple Nickel, some of the question, part of the question you have answered because Alex had asked. And if the information is available on your website, please just refer us to the website so that we can get, and you can briefly answer the question to Geoffrey. Thank you so much. Triple Nickel is for you.
So just, Leslie, I see that you were going on. So Leslie did talk a little bit just about the language standard testing, and that varies from province to province. So to get specific question on that may be a part of the consult. I'll let Leslie speak a little bit more to that. And then I can speak to, I think Jeffrey had mentioned, plans to scale. So our hope, and we are working on it, is to have centers across the continent so that every country eventually will have access to be able to go into, a center and train. So that is something that is definitely ongoing. We currently do not have a center in Tanzania, but that is the goal. And we do that through partnerships and in different ways, but that is definitely in the works. John may want to add to that as well, or Leslie, feel free.
I was just going to add to Godfrey's question about figuring out the demographic, how to choose which program you may be eligible for and where to apply, which is a very good question because it is a big task. Canada is a massive country, second largest country in area. My job as an immigration consultant, after I ask you all the questions, whether you're single, you're married, your education, the size of your family, those types of things, I'll ask you a question about, do you have family members here in Canada? If you do, great. If you don't, okay, that's fine. That may also be beneficial. Each province, as I was saying earlier on in the presentation, does have its own economic requirements. So if you said, you told me that, okay, you know what, I'm really interested in settling in Manitoba. Manitoba is further east, in middle of Canada. One of the requirements in order to go there, if you're going to elect to go through something called provincial nomination, is to have a family member residing in the province. It is the belief of a lot of different provinces that if you have a very close family member, a sister, brother, first auntie, or uncle, that they will not let you fail when you settle. Once you get into the country, they're going to do their utmost to help you find your footing. Other provinces, they don't care. They're going to look at you and say, you know what, we need somebody that is welding fabrication right now. Come to this province. So my job will help you identify based on your age. There's also an age requirements for some of the programs as well. So based on my interview with you, asking you a series of questions and what you tell me, I can help you narrow the field. I could even recommend applying to a bunch of different places, or just putting it more of a general application, for example, and let one of the provinces select you, because that does happen at times. Instead of just narrowing your field to one direction, sometimes we can do more of an umbrella effect, and you get more eyes on maybe your resume or whatever your skill set is, and hope for one of the provinces to select you personally and offer you an EOI, which is an expression of interest letter.
Geoffrey, are you satisfied with the answers? Did you feel your questions have been answered?
Yeah, I think that's good. Maybe I'll ask a follow-up later. Just I'll let somebody else go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. And as Doreen had mentioned before, or Leslie, visit their website as well, because just as Leslie had answered you, it varies from places to places, program to program, job to job. So she can support you just as she mentioned, either narrowing or broadening based on your interest in how you respond to her questions, like the general questions before getting into the job. Okay?
Maybe if I can follow up just a little quick. I know I'm not trying to get ahead of, trying to get ahead of everyone. I know a lot of people have questions. I guess based on you guys' experience, I'm sure based on your data, maybe I shouldn't say just experience, based on your data, what are the top skills, maybe 1 to 5, that you've seen that are more sort of sought after than others? I know, healthcare is, tends to be one of those skills. I know the gentleman did mention welding, but do you have the sort of a list? Maybe we'd say maybe the top 5. What would those be? Maybe that can give us an idea. Thank you.
Right now, yes, healthcare is important, but healthcare has really become, has been pushed to the forefront because of what has happened in the last 2 years. We're seeing significant burnout of healthcare workers across the entire country because of having to navigate the challenges of the pandemic here in Canada. The pandemic didn't hit every country the same. I'm sure things are maybe different in Tanzania or wherever you are. My family originally comes from Trinidad and Tobago. The pandemic was practically non-existent until 4 or 5 months ago. So that's when they got hit really hard. They went from a wave 1 to a wave 6, which was really intense. So it's different. So right now, yes, Canada is going hard for everything that's healthcare, even lab techs and testers, those types of people. So yeah, that's number 1, I would say for sure right now in every single province as well as the territories. The next thing, I can't stress this enough, trades. Right now, the projection based on statistics, and you can actually find these statistics on ESDC, that is Economic Development Canada. They post the statistics. We are expected to see more than, what was the number I saw? It was 800,000 people retire within the next 7 years. They are on the cusp of a major challenge. We need to get these roles filled for the trades. All these tradespeople retiring within the next 5 to 7 years, that's a huge number. No amount of universities, colleges, trade schools, apprenticeship programs can fill numbers like that. We need people to fill these roles because Canada has free healthcare. You know, we have roads and all these types of things your taxpayer money goes into. Those are funded by working citizens. If we have a deficit of 800,000 people just in trades alone retiring, far less for the healthcare workers that have just dropped out of the industry in the last year and a half because of the pandemic, not to mention all the other sectors, job sectors. So for trades, we're looking at millwrights, welders, carpenters, machinists, tile setters, concrete finishers, heavy duty mechanics, electrician, almost every kind of engineer possible, IT sector, analysts. There's so many, I can't even tell you. Like, you can actually go, again, if you have time and you're curious, you can actually go and look these things up. It's right there on the Immigration Canada website. They're letting you know who it is they're looking for. They've created special programs in each individual province and territory. We call them in demand skill sets. So if you see that, oh, you know what, I did computer programming for 2 years and I have a diploma, or, you know, I'm a nurse and I've practiced, you know, for 5-6 years, go and check one of the provinces and see if they have something called provincial nomination for that in-demand sector. Saskatchewan is looking for retail, customer service, hospitality, machinists. They're looking for heavy duty mechanics right now. I just saw they put one up there recently. They're looking for child caregivers, daycare workers. The list is so long, and that's just a couple provinces I've listed off the top of my head. There's a lot that's there, and all the provinces are very transparent about who it is, what they're looking for. But I want you guys to keep this. If you don't take anything away from it, whatever program you apply to under the immigration programs of Canada, you are in a competition with other people. Each of these different programs have pools. So if you go and you meet the minimum requirements, great. But remember, for every one person that applies, there are other people around the world competing for each of these positions. So don't just go in there and try and get the minimum requirement. Do your best so you can get selected to represent your country in whatever segment of Canadian immigration you decide to use to help yourself. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Geoffrey, are you okay with the answer now? We can proceed?
Yes, I am. I'll let somebody else go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine, who we had next, Magesa or?
Yeah, but before that, nataka tukusema kwamba what Leslie has said, definitely do your best. Unajua, nafikiri sometimes just because we have an immigration officer or immigration consultant standing and doing something for us, sometimes us as an applicant, we tend to lay back a little bit. So as Leslie has mentioned, nafikiri the most important part, when you go and review their website, make sure you do your best to review it, make sure you have the right qualifications. There's so many competitive. Alafu tuingia nataka kuadi kuhusu Geoffrey. Ulikuwa nataka kama hii presentation, yes, it's recorded. Sijui kama uko kwenye list of our email list for Tanzanian Community Association of Calgary. Are you on emailing list?
I am sure I'm not. I'm not in Calgary, sorry.
Okay, sorry. Then if you're not, just put your email on the chat. I know Doreen, Leslie, and others, they have put their emails for anybody to contact them with questions. But anybody that yuko hapa leo anataka kupata hii recorded presentation, unaweza tukaandika email yako hapa chini, afu tutakutumia. Basi asante. Sasa hivi Magesa Mashauri, unaweza kuuliza swali. Karibu sana.
Hello.
Tunakusikia kaka, karibu.
Okay. Asante na nimepata pamoja na consultant kwa kufuatilia. Mimi nilikuwa na maswali machache ambayo obvious ni kama mawili matatu hivi. Swali langu la kwanza nilikuwa nauliza consultant kwamba ukishakubaliana nao kwamba now they are going to service you, contract ina last kwa muda gani? Kwamba sometimes kunakuwa na challenge kwamba mtu labda kwenye requirement imetokea umepungukiwa labda credit, let's say kwenye requirement ya lugha ikatokea labda credit tulizonazo hazijatosha, ikabidi tena urudi kuimprove kwa ajili ya kuweza kumiti zile requirement za lugha. je, contract ya service yao ina how long it last, na pia hizi processes zinazokuwepo kwenye service ina cover the entire migration process, au ni kwamba kisha kusaidia, let's say ikifika stage labda una visa yako mkononi basi inaishia hapo, kwa sababu tumekuwa tukiona hata watu wageni wanapohamia Tanzania kunakuwa na kesi za zile unaziita post landing services. Yaani unatoka kule umekabidhiwa kama ni visa yako mkononi, kama ni consultant amekuservice, akishakabidhi visa imeisha. Sasa lile eneo unakoenda ni mgeni, hajakupa reference za mtu ambaye anaweza kukusaidia labda cheap accommodation, akakusaidia sehemu za pengine za kuweza kuarrange vitu vyako, lakini amekupa visa then ana sign out zile post landing service, wewe hauna connection. Sasa maeneo mengine ukuta mtu una ndugu. Kwa hiyo swali langu ni hilo kwamba angalau watuelezee contract yao ina last how long, na pia inakuwa ina cover process nzima au na vitu vingine. Na swali lingine nilikuwa nauliza labda kama wanaweza wakashare kama kuna cases ambazo wamezifanya hasa ukanda wetu wa East Africa kwa Tanzania, Kenya, ambazo wamewahi kusaidia mtu, pengine wakashare from their experience, cases zilikuwaje kwa hao watu waliowasaidia, na pengine sisi tukajipima tuko kwenye nafasi gani when we are going to work with them. Na la mwisho ambalo nahisi kidogo unapoenda kwa consultant sometime inakulazimu muulize kwa nini yeye, labda tofauti yake na maconsultant wengine itakuwaje, strengths zake, kwamba na mimi nitakuwa kwenye position ipi ya kufanikiwa, chances zangu zitakuwaje kwenye kufanikiwa. So currently ndo maswali yangu hayo.
Asante sana kaka Magesa kwa maswali yako. Nitawaambia wenyewe wakujibie, lakini kuna moja lile ambalo walijibu mwanzo, consultation yao kwa lisali moja wanadai $170 za Canada. Kwa hiyo ndio consultation wanafanya. Sasa kama kuna mkataba agreement ya kwenda na kurudi, hiyo nitawaachia wajibu. Sasa nitajaribu kutafsiri hilo swali lako. Sawa sawa? Maswali sijui niseme maana yako mengi. Triple Nico, we're going back to Magesa's questions. He had a couple of them. So the first question was asking about your consultation services. Is there a contract? And if there is any, how long does it take? He gave an example. For instance, somebody is applying for something and they're lacking some credentials, let's say language, and they come to you, which I hope this will be avoided after somebody visited the website and know the standard. However, if that is the case, somebody came to you, you realize they are lacking some things for their language, or maybe they did exam, they failed, so they need to go back to upgrade. Can they come back to you and continue? Because his understanding, from the way I read between the lines, is that your consultation is kind of agreement, and he was wondering how long that contract is taking. That's the first question. And then the second question was about the immigration process. So from the time he comes to you to apply to the time he lands, and he was asking whether the cost you mentioned, it covers everything. As I explained to him in Swahili as well, your cost of consultation is $170 Canadian per hour. A third question he was asking, once somebody arrives in Canada, what is happening? So your consultation ends at the office, making sure that he gets the job, or mission, whatever may be, and he comes to Canada, does he get any kind of support? And what he was wondering was things like accommodation, to know where to go because he's new, finding a place, and as you come here, of course, things like healthcare or just to get around, so to say, because you just kind of like drove to like a bomb in Canada. And another thing he asked is whether you have any cases that you have completed, like somebody you have supported in Eastern countries. So if you have one in Tanzania or Kenya, Uganda, and the surrounding, and if that is the case, would you be able to share your experience? He wanted to kind of like measure where he's at, but as again, Leslie mentioned before, each case is different. So I'll let you elaborate those.
Yeah.
And last, he asked about the uniqueness, you know, if he chooses to come to you, like you're selling chip, why should he come to you? So surely there are a lot of consultants out there. So his successful chances and whatnot. So how can you help him and things like that? I think that's all, and that's how I could summarize his question. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
Okay, great questions. So let's go back to the first question. There are two separate fees. So consultation is the flat $170 for the 1 hour with option for a follow-up meeting. I have had many clients, they say, I want to immigrate to Canada. Let's set up the consultation. They pay their consultation fee. And in our questioning, they haven't done anything. Like they haven't taken any of the initial steps. Some of them I've even identified during our consultation meeting. They don't even have a valid passport. So there are some initial steps that you would definitely want to take. First of all, starting with your valid passport. Like I mentioned before, Canada has 2 official languages. You have to be able to communicate from working to work here in the country or to study here in the country. If it's a vacation visa, like a travel visa or a grandparent visa, they don't care about those things. You can communicate however you want to, but for purposes of work and permanent residency and studying, you have to be able to communicate in the 2 languages. So what I have done in the past numerous times, after the consultation has wrapped up, I do give them summary notes of what is discussed and next steps. Depending on what you've approached me with, what we can do is we can say our next steps would be, number 1, get a valid passport. Number 2, if you're a student, go and do your academic IELTS language test in either language. Number 3, maybe they don't have enough money, or maybe they have the right amount of money, but they don't have enough work experience. I would tell them these are the things you need to do to put your best foot forward, to get yourself prepared. The consultation doesn't time out per se. So let's say, for example, we've gone through all of these steps. The hour is done. I send you my follow-up meeting notes within 48 hours of what we discussed. Immigration is a very serious, life-changing decision if you're planning to immigrate, even studying, right? So I would give you some time, ponder, look over the notes. A lot of times questions come up later on. If you're somebody that has a significant other and or parents that are financing you, you have to have that discussion with them to see what they're willing to do, what you can do on your own. So I leave the door open, and then we reserve about a half an hour follow-up meeting, usually about a week or 2 weeks later, to see what do you want to do? How do you want to proceed? Are you going to be able to undertake the steps that are necessary for you? That's me as a customer service person, making sure that you have the tools, and I've provided you with the answers, to get yourself headed in the right direction. I have had people sit for the language exam test. They gave me everything. They got themselves all together. They go and sit for the language test and they fail. So they go and they write it again. The marks are creeping up, but they're not right where they need to be. Okay, well, I've already told you what you have to do. As somebody that's undertaking this, you as the applicant for whatever process, you have to take some responsibility for yourself. I can only do so much for you, guide you along the steps. I don't have a problem with you checking in with me, you know, 5-6 months down the road when you finally do sit and pass the language test, or you do come up with a proof of funds, or you do get the university acceptance letter. Then we can start to work together. If you choose, after the consultation is finished, and we reconnect after those 2 weeks, I will ask you, once you've decided what it is you want to do you want to retain me for my professional services? Or a separate retainer agreement is where we sit down and we discuss how much it would cost based on your specific, you know, class of immigration that you're coming through and your family circumstance. When I say family circumstance, proof of funds is for one person. If you have a spouse, you have to show another set of money. If you have children, you have to show another set of money. So it ranges. It can be as little as $5,000-$6,000 if you're coming through provincial nomination, or if you have a family of 6, it could be almost $45,000-$50,000 of proof of funds. So I will offer you my services. You tell me, yes, I'm okay with retaining your services. And then I say, okay, it's going to cost you this amount of money for me to process it start to finish. As for time is dependent on, number one, the consulate that you're going to submit your application to. Good thing is Canada is doing a lot more uploading of applications, so I can do the uploading and forwarding all the documents. Some people also, well, most people also need police clearance and police certificates pulled as well. We only take originals for that, so that would be sent directly to me or to IRCC. All these little steps take time. So I will, once retained, my services are retained, I will start and finish once we get a decision on your file. Whether the decision is positive or negative, I will still come back to you and tell you what the decision is on the file. And then you can decide, okay, maybe I'll try a different pathway, Leslie, or maybe I'm gonna wait a year, or maybe I would like you to appeal the process. An appeals process entails me writing the immigration officer, requesting the officer's note, which can be anywhere from 30 to 60 pages long, creating a summary, and then resubmitting your application from scratch again. That is a separate fee, because that's different type of professional fee on top of the regular immigration service that you've retained me for. So yeah, the fees vary, but I stick with you right through the end, regardless of the result.
Thanks, Leslie.
And sorry, excuse me, can I say something?
Yeah, sure, go ahead, because some of the other questions weren't answered, so I'm guessing that's where you come in. No problem.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. And thank you, Leslie, for that answer. To answer the question in regards to why should you jump on board with us, is because from a skills development point of view, it would be beneficial because we've been in the trenches. We've migrated to Canada through skills, through the trades, and we have also dealt with immigration consultants. So our experience will be beneficial for you. And we have a holistic approach to coming up with a solution for bringing your brothers and sisters to Canada, or equipping them with the skills that they need for the Canadian industry. So we are a generation that is now looking at the needs of those who are at home and how you can help them and help them migrate to Canada. So we're basically on the same level, and there's no other company that can help you maneuver through the system and achieve what you need at the moment. So I would say that's why we're different from everybody else. We understand our needs better and your needs better. Yeah.
And to add to what John was just saying as well, once you arrive here in Canada, I think it's a really good opportunity to get connected with your own community. That's the first step. navigating the healthcare system, driver's license, place to live. Those are all things that you get from your own community. So your brothers and sisters right here in Calgary, or wherever the other, Tanzanian Cultural Association is in Canada, use your network of people, your own people, to help you get those things done. Doreen and John have done such a great job of connecting with so many different Afro diaspora here in the country, as well as other places, and myself too. I really believe that we need to uplift each other. This is our time to really just reach out and support. If you were to come through, for example, a work program, certain work programs, for example, hospitality does this a lot, and some of the trades do this as well, I've recently found out. If you're hired directly for a job, a lot of employers are responsible in the contract to offer you a place to live for the first 3 to 6 months. Some employers do opt out of it, but many of the times they opt in. So they don't want you to be stressed out while you're coming to work right away looking for a place to live. So they will set aside time to take you to go get your driver's license, to help you get your health care, to help you settle or find a place to live or rent. Those are very, very important things. And then usually after, it's usually written into the contract. Once the time frame expires in the contract for housing, then the expectation is for you to get your own housing somewhere else. So yeah, we are able to connect you to those resources. Canada is pretty good in lots of places for trying to find resources to help you connect to your community, or even just other resources. They have many. Every province has a special newcomer program because it's really important. Statistics have shown that when newcomers land in Canada, their trajectory and the success rates are much higher in the first 2 to 5 years. It will just skyrocket. If they have challenges settling within those first 2 to 5 years, that could be work, finding a place to live, community connections, those types of things. Once they get to that 6 to 10 year mark, it starts to go downhill. It's mental stress, financial stress, lack of success. The statistics do back that up. And as I had mentioned before, ESDC, Economic Development Canada, has those results. I used to work for them a long time ago. They store those results because we need to know the success rates. Who's doing well? Which immigrants are thriving? What are their, key performance indicators, like the main salary that people are coming in at the first couple of years they land here. When are they getting into home ownership? Who are they using to help them settle? Those are very, very important markers for Canada in order to be successful. So yeah, resources are available. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. And just to add on that, it really, really breaks my heart as a tradesman when you get into industry and you find you're the only Black man in the trades, and the next group of Black people are janitors and cleaners. It really, really breaks my heart. And I feel as African diaspora, we know what tradespeople, how much they contribute to the economy and how much they earn. We know the capabilities of our brothers and sisters back home. We know we are a growing population in Canada, and we're African Canadians, and the next generation of our children, of our brothers and sisters, need to have a part in contributing to development of industry in this country. And if we are not going to encourage our brothers and sisters to take part in terms of economic development related to industry, then we will always be a race that is lagging behind. If we're not going to take this responsibility as a generation to sacrifice all we can and help our brothers and sisters understand how things work, equip them with the knowledge and familiarize them with how industry works by introducing them to courses or programs that can help them navigate through the Canadian industry culture. It's another ball game. It's our responsibility to do that. Other than sending money, some money to your brothers and sisters back home for them to go to a party or go and drink, give them money. They can jump on a course on triple nickel and, you know, do a course and equip themselves in preparation for migration. So in a nutshell, I am saying it's now our responsibility. We have to sacrifice, we have to act, and we have to kind of like stay away from having everything done for us. But we are the Muzungu today. The African diaspora is a country. There's a Tanzania that is outside Tanzania. And that is the Tanzania that is supposed to help the brothers and sisters back home. Before we look at investors, Muzungu coming and doing it, we have to be the Muzungu who brings about that change. Thank you.
And if I can just, sorry, Alice, I feel like we've kind of jumped over, but just to add to what Leslie has said and what John has said, I think one of the things that we would like to leave as a mandate for TCAC, and you know, Magesa had a great question about, you know, post-arrival. So for these new brothers and sisters that maybe don't have anybody in Canada, but they do, they have TCAC in Calgary and any other association of Tanzania across the country. So I think that for the executive team, I would challenge you to have this as a future agenda item of discussion. What can TCAC do to be a part of what we are building? Because there's definitely a big role for the diaspora and for the community. And I see it as a great capacity building opportunity as well, in that, you know, there's opportunities for mentoring. So when there is a new person that comes in, we have all of the experience, all of the knowledge of what happens from the time you come in. It could be setting up banking. It could be maybe you have a basement suite that you need to be rented out or you can use to give away. There is lots of things that can be done. And we know that through different programs for communities, for nonprofits, there could be an opportunity for TCAC to set up a program that could potentially have funding from the government that would be supporting newcomers. So just thinking differently, I think we all have to help each other. We can do it, it's within our limits. So that is what I'm going to leave, I think, at the end of everything that has already been said.
Thank you, Doreen. Thanks, John, and thank you, Leslie. So I will try to quickly summarize your answers for Magesa. So from what I learned from Leslie, and I think she mentioned before, so oh gosh, this changing Swahili to English is troubling me. Now I'm speaking English. Sorry, Magesa. Sasa nitajaribu kujibu maswali yako kulingana na majibu nimepata kutoka kwa hawa wageni wetu wanao present. Kitu nimesoma kutoka kwao, itakuwa ni jambo jema zaidi kupitia website yao na kujifunza mambo mengi ili kuto kustopisha hii, yani ukianza uanze moja kwa moja. Sasa wamesema kile kitu cha kwanza kabisa, vitu ambavyo inabidi ujue ama ujue unavyo kama unataka kuhamia Canada. Cha kwanza kabisa lazima uwe na passport. Bila hiyo huwezi kusafiri. Kingine, lugha. Canada ina lugha mbili, Kifaransa na Kiingereza. Kiingereza kinaongelewa sehemu zote za Canada, Quebec na sehemu zingine wanaongea Kifaransa wakichanganya na Kiingereza, lakini Quebec ni Kifaransa. Alafu ukisha baada ya kumaliza hiyo consultation yao, sasa mtakuwa na hiyo, baada ya hapo kama kutakuwa na mengine ya kukusaidia atafanya hivyo. Kwa hiyo ile consultation ya kwanza, makutano yenu ya kwanza, ile lisali moja ambao mnaulizana maswali, ni hiyo $170 ya Canada, haibadiliki. Baada ya hapo anasema hakuna kipimo cha muda, yeye atakusaidia mpaka majibu yako yatokee, whether umepata ama umekosa, atakusaidia mpaka mwisho. Ila akimaliza hilo lisali moja, baadaye kutakuwa kuna follow up ya dakika 30, maana mkishafanya hiyo lisali moja ataandika muktasari, atakutumia mmezungumza nini na vitu gani vya kufuata, yani vya kufanya tena. Baada ya hapo mtakuwa na mkutano unaofuatia wa kama dakika 30 kuzungumzia ile mkutano wetu mliomaliza. Sawa. Hiyo cost hawawezi kukupa cost ya kila kitu, gharama ya kila kitu, kwa sababu ni tofauti. Kama alivyosema mkishakutana mkutano wa kwanza dakika 30, then kutakuwa na agreement nyingine. Kama utaamua sasa umeridhika na yale maelekezo aliyokupa, unasema unataka kuendelea nayo. Sasa yeye mwenyewe mtakaa naye, dada Leslie atakueleza kwamba hii ni separate fee na fee yenyewe ni hii kwa haya mahitaji unayohitaji. Alafu atakupa. Juu ya nini kitatokea ukishalanda hapa Canada, kama alivyoeleza dada Doreen, sisi TCAC tupo, inategemea uko wapi. Katika kila province sijui na kuna organization mbalimbali ama provinces zingine ama territory inawezekana wasiwe nazo, lakini zipo za jirani. Kwa mimi na kama kiongozi wa TCAC, unakuja huku unaweza kuwasiliana na embassy yetu ambayo iko Ottawa, ukaelekeza ukasema jamani mimi nakwenda zangu sijui Montreal, Manitoba, sijui wapi, kuna Mtanzania yoyote huko, wanaweza wakawa wanafahamu wakakuconnect na hao watu. Ukiwa nao basi watakufahamisha zaidi, lakini vile vile wamezungumza kwamba makampuni hayo yanayokupa kazi yenyewe haswa haya ya mambo ya mafuta sijui na uchomaji, welding na nini, mara nyingi huaga yanakuwa na centers zao, wanakupa makazi walao ya miezi 6 kukusaidia kuanza maisha. Baada ya hapo na wewe utakuwa umesha network labda na Watanzania wenzio, ama umesha soma magazeti ya loko ukajua wapi wanapangisha nyumba, then hiyo inakuwa utakuwa umekaa sawa sawa. Kingine wamezungumza uniqueness yao wao, kwa nini wako tofauti. Ni kampuni ambayo pekee ambayo inafanya hizi shughuli, kwa sababu kubwa zaidi wanafahamu matatizo yetu sisi wa Afrika kama walivyokuwa wameelekeza mwanzoni. Nafikiri nchi nyingi zimekuwa mbali sana kuleta watu wao, na tunafahamu kama sisi tuliokuwepo hapa tunaona wa China kibao, wa Hindi kibao, wa Filipino ndio ila sisi wa Afrika bado tuko nyuma. Sasa hawa naona wameona hapo kuna nafasi ya biashara wakafanya, na vile vile ni nafasi pia ya wao kusaidia Waafrika wenzao. Kwa hiyo wakaamua waanzishe hii biashara ambayo inasaidia kuleta Waafrika hapa. Kingine dada Doreen aliomba sisi kama jumuiya, nafikiri kaka Juma atasema mwishoni kama nakumbuka vizuri, sisi sio NGO. Sasa sijui kama tunaweza tukapata funds za kuweza kusupport newcomer kwa programs mbalimbali kama hizi za mentoring, sijui nini, kusaidia watu kupeleka banking other than kuvolunteer. Na sasa hapo kutakuwa na collaboration gani ili sisi kama Watanzania kujua kuna Watanzania wenzetu wanakuja, tutawasaidiaje, kwa sababu tunafanya hizi shughuli informally, si kama tufanye sasa hivi pia bado tunafahamu. Tunafanya. Nafikiri ni hayo, na muda tayari tumeshazidisha dakika 10. Kaka Magesa, tumejibu maswali yako?
Nimeelewa dada sana.
Asante. Dada Catherine unaweza ukaendelea.
Naona muda kidogo umeenda, lakini nafikiri kuna mwenzetu amenyosha mkono, na kama tunavyojua sasa hivi rais wetu wa Tanzania ni mwanamke Mama Samia Suluhu. Kutokana na hili jina hapa namuona Vero, kwa hiyo huyu ni mwanamke mwenzetu, naona tumpe chance naye aulize swali. Karibu sana dada Vero na swali lako.
Mwambie amemute nadhani.
Vero, kama unazungumza, naona unazungumza juu ya mute dada, tunaomba unmute tukusikie. Asante.
Nasema tunashukuru sana kwa hizi information, ni nzuri, tulikuwa tunazihitaji sana na tunashukuru zimekuja wakati muafaka. Mimi nilitumiwa hii link na mmoja wa rafiki yetu kutoka Canada, na nimeweza kukatisha kila kitu ili niweze kujumuika pamoja nanyi, kwa sababu nina vijana wengi sana ambao wanauliza hizi habari za kuja Canada, Marekani. Najua Marekani ni challenge, lakini Canada nimekuwa nikisikia kwamba mna programu nzuri za kuwaleta watu kutoka mataifa mbalimbali. Mmoja wa kijana wangu ni huyo Magesa. Kwa hiyo kwanza, kwa kuongezea tu hapo kwa majibu ya Magesa yote nimesikiliza, lakini nadhani kuna swali moja amekuwa hamjalijibu ambalo nitaanza nalo. Ametaka kujua pia kwamba na statistics zozote kwa watu ambao mmeshawaleta, yani mmewasaidia katika hiyo programu, mfano kutoka Tanzania? Najua Tanzania bado tuko nyuma, yes, lakini maybe kuna mmoja, wawili, watatu na kuendelea ambao wamefanikiwa, au basi kama sio Tanzania hata Kenya, around Uganda. Nadhani hilo dada ulilisahau, si ndio?
Halo dada Vero, asante, nimekusikia na asante sana kwa unazungumza kutoka Tanzania?
Hapana, mimi naishi Marekani.
Asante sana.
Bado sijamaliza. Sasa ninakuja kwenye swali mimi. Kama nilivyokuambia, nina vijana wengi sana wananiulizia habari za kuja Marekani na Canada, na Marekani ni ngumu kidogo, yani sitataka kuieleza hapa, lakini nadhani Canada itakuwa vizuri. Sasa kwa mfano nimesikia hiyo service ya awali ya charges ambazo ni 170 za Canada. Sasa lakini sawa, cases najua zinatofautiana. Kuna cases ya huyu itatofautiana na mwingine na mwingine, lakini angalau basi wangetuambia cost, yani kwamba wawe na around figure, let's say kuanzia labda $300 mpaka $500, $500 mpaka $700. Unanielewa eh? Kwamba kesi zinatofautiana sawa, lakini basi uwe na around figure. Kwa mfano mimi sasa Vero nataka nimsaidie mtoto wa dada yangu, nataka nimsaidie mtoto wa kaka yangu, let's say sasa nikijua kwamba hii cost ita cost hiki, najua nitaweza kuwasaidia kwa mwaka huu, naweza kusaidia watu 2, naweza kusaidia watu 3. Kumbe cost kubwa, naweza kusaidia mtu mmoja kwa mwaka. Kwa hiyo ninakuwa najipangia katika bajeti yangu ya mwaka, nitasaidia watoto 3, nitawasaidia watoto 2, kwa sababu ninajua ile figure kwamba kesi ya huyu inaweza kukosti 700, lakini kesi ya huyu inaweza kukosti $800, au kesi hiyo inaweza kukosti $300. Lakini angalau unakuwa na round figure ya kujua kwamba nitasaidiaje hawa vijana katika hii process ya kuwaleta huko mliko. Sijui nimeeleweka?
Umeeleweka vizuri kabisa dada Vero, asante sana, na asante kwa kutuletea vijana. Nitatafsiri maswali yako na kukumbusha lile lingine ambalo nilisahau la Magesa. Naona hata Magesa naye nilimuuliza kama maswali tumejibu, akalisahau na hilo pia, lakini tutalirudisha kwa sababu ni la muhimu. La kujua, na hata ile uliouliza wewe pia la kujua cost, ni kweli mtu aangalie paka hata pa kuanzia. Hata mimi ndugu zangu wakiniuliza ati nataka kuanzisha biashara, hiyo biashara ina kiasi gani, yani range, unaelewa, ili nijue nitaweza kukusaidia. Je, nitaweza kusaidia mwaka huu, nitabidi nichange kiasi gani, vitu kama hivyo. Asante. Ngoja basi.
Nilikuwa tunataka nikuambie kwamba unapowazungumzia Triponico, jaribu tu kuelimisha mtazamo wa sisi kule nyumbani. Mtu anataka kujua cost kabla hata hajaanza process, ili ajue anajipangaje, cost ikoje, na will I be able to afford. Nafikiri ndo ni vizuri waelewe mentality tunatoka nayo kule nyumbani Tanzania.
Sawa sawa, asante. To Triponico, now I'm going back to questions from Sister Vero. There was also another question that I forgot, and it looks like Magesa also, when I asked him whether we answered the question, he also forgot to remind me. So Sister Vero is the one say that she's been asked by many young people, including Magesa. So she invited Magesa to come and listen to this. So the question that Magesa had asked was, are there any previous candidates in East Africa, in Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, and around, that had gone through you and had a successful outcome? And what was your experience? And these are my own words I'm adding now, whether there were any missing things they had to go back and coming forth to you, maybe how long that it took. And I know every case is different, but I am just asking. So that is to clear from Magesa. So questions from Vero. She understands that your consultation fee for that first hour is the $100.70, but then, and Sister Catherine also added into this, and this is kind of like a Tanzanian mentality or idea or way of living kind of understanding. And I even admitted myself, I am like that when I'm helping my people, you know. So people would like to know, and we know every case is different, it's different, but again, people want to know roughly, you know, what is the range, you know, like here school, when you look, people are asking you for school, be like, well, for international student, it runs between 20,000 to 40, depending on the program. If it's the same program, they'll be like, well, 20, 25,000, you get it. So for this one, even though we understand that the programs are, you know, costs are different, can you provide a range? And to go back to Sister Vero, because she has a lot of people that she needs to help, she wants to understand, based on your range of costs, whether she'll be able to help only one person per year, or it may take her even 2 years, these are my words, to support one individual, or maybe, going back to hers, she'll be able to support 2 or even 3 youth in a year. So giving that cost range would be ideal. And back to my guest question, giving back your experience for any successful call candidate, any challenges and what, it will give them a feeling of knowing like what's going on, how to prepare themselves. Thank you, Triple Nickel.
Just to answer that from a skills point of view before Leslie elaborates on the immigration side of things, I should say the situation we are in Canada, a lot of companies that require tradesmen will be in a position to either assist in terms of relocation, or they will also be in a position to assist in terms of travel and other expenses that are that may be involved. The starting point is getting people with the trades, or getting people into the trades, or should I say people with the required skills and professional backgrounds that are needed in Canada. And then the immigration part of the equation takes place from there. But I should say we have a lot of friends that we have assisted since we've been in the trenches, and we've been in industry for the longest while. We also have a lot of companies that we know that are hiring from Africa. There's a lot of our friends who have come through those channels, and this is why we have decided to come in as Triple Nickel to be able to assist everyone who is in need to jump on board for this opportunity. I will let Leslie elaborate more on the immigration part of things.
Thank you. Yes, I actually have 2 clients right now. One from earlier on in last year, and then one that I'm ongoing right now because we didn't have all the documentation. One is from Kenya and the other one is from Mozambique. The process started with us, and I'm not really supposed to go too much detail, but I'll just give you an overview. One is coming here to study, and the other one's looking for work. The person that's looking for work is coming through the hospitality sector. So hospitality, they've worked at some kind of resort over there. They did their language tests. They actually were bilingual, which was surprising because we don't typically get people speaking both languages, French and English, fluid, like very fluid. So yeah, we had a discussion. They wanted to come to work. They've always kind of been on that. It is challenging to get a direct job offer, but this person has had a really good travel history. So for them having a good travel history, which is one of the criteria sometimes that immigration officers look for, plus your work history, they have actually traveled in the hospitality industry to other neighboring countries and were able to work on behalf of the hotel that chain that they were attached to. So what we were able to do was to kind of point them in a specific direction to another hospitality owner here in Western Canada that's actually able to line them up with something temporary being 1 year, But the good thing is once that person gets through with the 1 year, they're actually served the amount of hours, the applicable hours to apply for permanent residency. That one started last June or July. And because of the processing challenges that we kind of met with them trying to sit to write the language testing at that time, because they were still kind of in the thick of COVID, they were having challenges getting a spot or a slot to sit for their language test. So that kind of pushed it down the road a little. They did reconnect with me in September. It was just before, so September, and they showed me their score. So what I did was I gave them advice to redo their resume. I was able to send it off to the person that I was thinking in the hospitality industry, along with a copy of their IELTS examination. Because a lot of the jobs that people are looking for right now, and they weren't actually able to have people flying back and forth, the interview was actually conducted over Zoom. A lot of employers right now are doing Zoom interviews. Some of them are just looking at resumes and then writing back to the client directly. So now the person has actually gone through the process. They landed for the job in January because we had a little bit of a challenge with one of the documents that were about to expire. We wrote back to the officer and then we asked them for an exception on the document expiry because of things with COVID and the amount of time that everything was sitting in process. So that process, I would say, was about 13 months, give or take. For that one person. The other person, as I said, is a student going through the process. Student processes can be a little tricky sometimes because a lot of the times I've kind of come into two situations with students. Students either know exactly what it is they want to do, or they have a parent that's pushing them to do one thing, and then they're still trying to figure themselves out because they're younger. How I tackle students after I have the first consultation with them, once we go in, I find out, what do you want to do? Either they tell me what they want to do, or they say, you know what, I just know I want to study in Canada. If they tell me they want to study in Canada, okay, what kind of education do you already have? If they already have a degree, then they may be looking for a master's program. Some people are looking for something else, or maybe they're just looking to do something to top up what they've already have. So in that case, what I would do for that person, and what I did end up recommending to them, was for them to search for schools on their own. A lot of people do not like to do that, but I strongly recommend to clients searching for schools on your own. When you search for schools on your own, you're taking ownership of the process that way. She was able to find a school that she liked, and then she applied. She put her application in for the program. The program she was taking was a top-up certificate program, which was actually a year in conjunction with the finance that she was doing, like the finance degrees she had from home. So it was more of a specialization. Once she did that, she was accepted to the school, and now she's just waiting for the actual study permit to be issued. Unfortunately, she has had a backlog, and she's one of those people stuck in the study permit. I did write in on her behalf to IRCC, asking them about where the permit is and when it's supposed to be released. Her program actually starts end of May, from May 2022 going into 2023. So we should be hearing back from them pretty soon, I anticipate. In other cases, for students that don't know what it is they want to study, I am able to compile a list of schools as well as programs for them. But for that case, if I'm going to do the extra work that's kind of outside of immigration per se, which is looking for schools for them that hit their personal or their parents' criteria a lot of the times, I will charge a flat fee for that work of just $400, because once I find the school, find the specialty that you're going to specialize in, it's your responsibility now to pay the third-party fee of the application cost directly to that university. Whether the university accepts you or not, that's there, and you have to fulfill their criteria. But if I'm going to spend hours and hours and hours making a list of 20 schools for you to choose from in your academic selection, and then you have to go back and narrow it down to 4 or 5 schools, and then choose if you're going to apply to them directly or not, or have me apply on your behalf, which means actually doing the school applications for you, which I've done only once. It's quite lengthy. That's why I would charge a separate fee for that. Back to, what was the lady's name? Vera? Sorry, she had asked about cost. Again, yes, I did say it is very specific to class of immigration. If we are taking, can Vero give me an example of one of the people she's looking to help? Because I feel my head's everywhere right now when it comes to, if I tell you business, I've had business entrepreneur person, that can run you $15,000 to $30,000 because you're a business person immigrating to Canada to set up a business. That's the scale of that. Vera, can you give me an example of one person that you're thinking of helping in a nutshell very fast? And I will give you a ballpark for that.
Thanks, Leslie.
Thank you.
Dada Vero, Dada Leslie anauliza kama unaweza ukampa mfano halisia, maanake hizi kosti ziko mbalimbali. Ametoa mfano kama mtu anakuja huku anataka kufungua biashara yake, inaweza ikamkosti mpaka 30,000 za Kikanada. Lakini kama vile unataka kupeleka sijui mtoto sijui kwenye welding ama nini, mpe mfano halisia akupe jibu halisia. Otherwise kichwa chake kitakuwa tu kikizunguka ajue anaongea nini, itabidi aongee mambo mengi. Umenipata dada Vero?
Yes, nimekupata. Sasa mfano
Ndio.
mzuri kama huyo mdogo wangu Magesa hapo.
Ndio.
Ya SUA ya mambo ya kilimo na Samia experience nadhani kwenye 3 years hivi. Kwa hiyo kwa mfano nataka kuja Canada yani ndio hivyo wanatafutia kazi kama hivyo walivyosema, alafu ndio ana faili kuja huko. Huyo ni mmoja. Mwingine
experience umesema ni miaka 3 dada? Experience ya nani? Dada Vero, experience ya Magesa ni miaka 3. Umesema ana degree ya agriculture kutoka SUA na ana experience ya miaka 3 ya kazi ya kwenye agriculture.
Ana degree moja. Huyo ni mmoja wapo. Mwingine labda ndio kamaliza fresh degree. Kama naye ndio hivyo, yeye hana experience. Ndio mifano kama hiyo miwili tu.
Huyo wa pili degree yake pia ni agriculture?
Ni ya aqua science.
Aqua science. Kwa sababu hayo ni mambo kidogo tofauti. Sawa sawa, asante. Sister Leslie, so Vero came back. She said the people that she wants to help, one of them is here. The candidate is Magesa, has a degree in agriculture and has a work experience in agriculture field of 3 years. And then there is a second person who has done aquaculture. This one has a degree, but no work experience. So let's start with Magesa, the one who is online. Thank you.
Okay, so agriculture. Now, when you say here, you mean they're already in Canada?
No, he's online. He's here also listening to this.
Okay. All right. So what I would recommend for you in that case would be to apply directly to a province that's looking for those 2 specialties. There are 3 provinces off the top of my head that I know. One specifically looking for aquaculture, and then another one specifically looking for agriculture. What I would do directly is I would recommend to you, and again, I don't tell you what to do, I recommend, and you make the decision at the end of the day, for you to apply directly to one of those provinces that are looking for people specifically with that educational background. What you can end up doing is receiving a nomination. That's called provincial nomination, and the provincial nomination has different financial criteria from one of the higher ones, the umbrella one, which is express entry. So for example, maybe you that has the agriculture background, you apply to that province that's looking for agriculture, they will only require you, for example, for proof of funds for like $5,000 or $6,000. My processing fee to help you through the process would be anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 to help you with the paperwork. Now that is if you don't have other family members all attached, maybe if it's just husband and wife, but if you have children, we have to do applications for each of the children. And even though you're coming to work or to immigrate directly, you still have to show on paper to Immigration Canada, I have children, I have a wife, I have a spouse that's either coming over at the same time as you or coming over later. So when we gauge the work out on the application as a professional and that person that's coming to do this, I would give you a range, let's say $1,000 to $3,000, give or take. I've gotten in the habit a lot of times of negotiating for families a package, because if you have a lot of children, children's application packages is a separate fee as well. Depending on the age of the kid and what is the actual security requirement for the child, we might make it way cheaper. We might even do 2 for 1. For the children in the family. But yeah, I would say if it's, you know, somebody looking to do agriculture or aquaculture, I would direct you to the easiest, what I believe is the easiest opportunity for you, which would be going through a PNP, paying that fee directly to the province so that you could get a nomination. And then I would assist you with the paperwork. So that would be showing, okay, you have your educational credential acquirement. I would show the submission letter, writing it up. I would even direct you to the job sector that you can specifically apply to jobs in agriculture, who you reach out to directly to see if you can get, you know, an additional support, a job letter or a recommendation, or show that your skills are needed. It's really important to use those angles for the in-demand sector, like you said, aquaculture and agriculture, and go directly to those places. Because if you do that, then it'll be easier for you. Normally they have caps on those special in-demand fields, but if you can get in directly with them, it's easiest to funnel through that program. If you do go through in-demand as well, usually they require you to be in the province within a 6-month period. So this is where the hustle starts here as a professional, to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row, you have all of the required paperwork, you have your police security check, all those things I funneled to the company as well as to Immigration Canada on your behalf, so that you can meet not only the employer's contractual requirement, but Immigration Canada's contractual requirement as well, and be in the country within the 6-month period. Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much, Leslie. Just for clarification, the provincial nomination, do they pay for that? Do you help them through that, or what is?
Yeah, that's all part of the immigration package. It's like, I mean, if somebody's applying for a provincial nomination, I will explain it to you. Or maybe in our consultation, I realized that they said they wanted to do one thing, but they're actually qualifying a different program. It's my job as an immigration consultant, as well as anybody that's ever contacted an immigration lawyer, for them to set out for you what are the opportunities available to you based on your specific circumstance. So I would tell you, maybe somebody came to me and said, I want to go through express entry, or I want to be a student. And I realized after talking to them, they don't fit any of those criteria. I will tell you, honestly, because you already paid your money, you don't fit that skill set, but you do fit over here. And this is what you need to do in order to fit that specific criteria for that province. Provincial nomination, the fee to apply for a provincial nomination goes directly to that province or territory. We have a few provinces and territories that are free, but we also have it starting as little as $200 all the way to $18.25, if my memory serves me correctly. That's on the West Coast, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so it ranges from $0 for provincial nomination all the way to about $2,000, but it depends on where you're going. And you wouldn't know about the program unless you specifically looked at that province, or you ask somebody like myself or an immigration lawyer, you know, tell me about this program.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Dada Vero, Dada Leslie ametupa majibu mazuri na specific, well with the range which is understandable. Sasa amesema kwa mfano wa kaka Magesa, huyu aliyemaliza SUA agriculture na ana experience ya kazi miaka 3, kwa cost ya kwake yeye Dada Leslie kumsaidia mpaka akafanikisha hii shughuli, na ataangalia yeye huyo Magesa anafiti wapi perfectly kulingana na hiyo application yake na documentation zake na mazungumzo hayo mtakayofanya kwenye hiyo consultation yake ya kwanza ya lisali moja. Anasema yeye itagharimu kwa ina range kuanzia dola za Kikanada 1,000 mpaka 3,000, na hii atakuelekeza kuapply kwa specific job, ila hii pia inabidi kujitahidi. Kwa mfano wa nini, kuna ametoa mfano wa provincial nomination. Hii ni kama speedy way, inaharakisha zaidi kupata mtu kuja hapa Canada, lakini kwa hii ameshauri kwamba inatakiwa uhakikisha hayo makaratasi yako yote yamekaa sawa kiasi kwamba within 6 months uwe umeshafika, kwa sababu hapa unacheza na vitu viwili, watu wa immigration kule pamoja na watu wa kwenye kampuni. Kila mmoja anakuwa hapo na masharti yake, lakini ukijihakikisha kwamba dokumenti zako zote zimekaa sawa na unaweza kiasi kwamba wao wakaspeed, maana wanakuhitaji haraka, ndio maana. Kwa hiyo wanataka kuhakikisha kwamba within your 6 months kweli uko hapa. Unatakiwa kusiwe na matata juu ya hilo. Nikauliza kwa hiyo provincial nomination, kama nafikiri wewe Dada Vero utauvile una kama Marekani utakuwa unaelewa kwamba Canada tuna provinces na kila province ina serikali yake na ina masharti yake. Sasa katika hizi provincial nomination, meaning hawa watu wa serikali wa province wanahitaji hawa watu wa hizi field mbalimbali. Amesema kuna provinces zingine hulipi hata senti, wanakupea tu bure, wana process zao of course, lakini kuna zingine zina run kutoka dola za Kicanada 200 mpaka 2000 ama 2500 huko, ndio hizo za za Kicanada na New Express. Alafu sasa kwenye ile application na fund kwa wewe kuja hapa, kama ni mtu mmoja, kama kijana Magesa hana mke wala mtoto, hiyo nyingine inaweza ikamwekea kwamba hakikishe kwamba ana fund za dola za Kicanada 5,000 mpaka 6,000. Lakini kama ati ana familia, sijui ana watoto, maana hizo application za watoto na zenyewe ni tofauti kulinganisha na muda wa mtoto. Sasa nafikiri hapa tumepata kidogo wa idea ya gharama inakuwaje. Hata huyo mtu wa aquaculture pia naye anahitajika. Kwa hiyo na yeye sasa ukienda kwa dada Leslie vile anafahamu, anafanya kazi na makampuni mbalimbali, wao watakuelekeza kwenye specific province na vile vile specific companies ambazo zinashughulika na haya mambo, kukurahisishia wewe upataji wako. Maana kama walivyosema wao nia yao, kufanikiwa kwako ndio mafanikio yao. Kwa hiyo wao wanajaribu as much as they can kusaidia ufike. Nafikiri sijui umepata jibu hapo dada Vero?
Ndio, nimeelewa, majibu yake yalikuwa mazuri sana. Asanteni sana.
Asante. Dada Catherine?
Ya, sasa naona muda kidogo umesogea. Naona kuna mkono mmoja tutaruhusu kwa wa mwisho. Kama Alice uko okay, kama brother Juma uko okay. Mwenyekiti wetu tunasubiri jibu kutoka kwako. It's okay, tuendeleze kidogo another 5 minutes ili swali la huyu kaka mwingine.
Huo ni mkono wa Geoffrey uliokuwa tangu mwanzo ama ni mwingine, au umeona ni mkono wa mtu mwingine?
Na huyu Geoffrey nilimuuliza akafikiri nafikia amenyosha tena mkono. Basi Geoffrey,
amenyosha mkono tena? Sio wa mwanzo.
Kama Geoffrey una swali, kama unataka kuliuliza uliza, basi tuna maybe another 2-3 minutes.
Okay. I'm sorry, and I know we've gone over time. I wanted to go back to John's point about the certifications in Africa. Would you be kind maybe to go over again? How does the process work? So when you guys open and I don't know, you open or you partner with some colleges back home, do you have your trainers from here that goes back to Africa and do the training, or do you have trainers that are based in Africa? So let's say if let's say there's a college in Tanzania that's willing to work with you guys, what will be the process? Thank you. And you can just answer as quick as you can. I know we've gone over time. Thank you. And
hello. Yes, so we have trainers on the continent. We also have trainers here in Canada that will work with the guys who are doing training either in Tanzania or in any specific African country. Certification-wise, when it comes to trade testing, everything is done virtually. So we verify and confirm all the testing through video cameras. But in a nutshell, the infrastructure and the people needed are all there to make sure that the program runs smoothly. Welding and welding certification, it's an internationally recognized system, should I say. So there's standards that we follow, may it be through American Welding Society, and every qualified instructor in the welding industry or fabrication industry in Tanzania will understand the procedures given and will be able to meet those specific standards for certification of students in that country.
Thank you so much, John. Geoffrey, are you satisfied with the answer? Or you have any question? Geoffrey, if you're talking, you're on mute. Catherine, naona tuendelee. Kama wewe uko sawa, tunaweza kumkaribisha rais wetu kaka Juma akashukuru wageni wetu na members wetu waliojitoa kuja kuelimika kwa leo, then tukamaliza mkutano. Kwako Catherine.
Okay, asante sana, asanteni sana. Basi naona tena hakuna maswali, lakini kama kuna maswali watu wataendelea kucontact au kuwa contact wahusika. Nafikiri waliandika email zao hapo chini, both Leslie, Doreen and John. Kwa hiyo kama kuna mtu yote atakuwa na maswali directly to them. Na tuliweka vile vile website ya Watanzania hapa Calgary, kwa hiyo unaweza kaenda kwenye website kama kuna swali au you need any other things, basi feel free. Basi nikurudishe Alice, tumkaribishe rais wetu wa hapa wa Tanzania hapa Calgary, Brother Juma. Karibu sana kaka.
Thank you everybody. Maybe I will start to talk in English. Can you guys hear me?
Ndio.
Yes, we can.
Okay. It seems like I had some problems with my headphones because I can talk through my computer easily, so I'll probably go for that. Anyway, I will then maybe later translate a little bit in Swahili for those who are here and probably don't grasp everything in English. First, I would like to actually thank all of you, all of our attendees who were able to make it for this session today. And second, it will be my great thanks to Triponico representatives, Doreen, Leslie, and John, for finding time and educating us in this field, in this area. And last but not least is the diaspora leaders. Thank you very much for putting this session together. I know it hasn't been an easy task, with accommodating everybody's time and all that kind of stuff. But you managed to pull the session together. This is our fifth session for the year, by the way. So we're looking forward to get more and educate each other in different areas of life, so to speak. So I know a lot of us spoken here. I won't go and repeat anything. And I had several meetings with the group, with leaders and all that. So I didn't want to jump in and ask my questions that have already been answered, or probably some of them I still have. But we all got contacts of Triponico, and if you got any question, anything you want to ask, please reach out. And when it comes to diaspora, I mean, this is part of our job, right? We get the information, we get things that we think are good, and it's our job to share it with our members and people out there who we think they will benefit them. Then it's up to them now to figure out how they will process this and work with the right people. And then we jump in again and help when it's required. So it was mentioned before there about how we will, set ourselves up to help with those who come here and need a little bit of support. Yes, that's what diaspora is there for. It says that we do ourselves, or just people, in their own capacity, either because it's a relative or a friend. We also work with other associations who are actually capable and have got more capacity than us of dealing with these kind of things. The one I think of is Center for Newcomers. I think most of you guys know that we've got a very good partnership with Center for Newcomers. When people are coming here and they don't have right resource, we normally work with them to accommodate them, find jobs, places to stay temporarily, even food. So we've been able even to supply food to people's homes during time of need, and coupons. People get food stamps from Center for Newcomers that goes through us, and we send them to our people whenever was required. So we will continue with this as new information comes, and whenever our support is required, we'll definitely jump in and help where necessary. So I will just maybe quickly go and translate a little bit in Swahili. I won't go into details of everything. Jamani, nawashukuru sana wote mloweza kuhudhuria. Naona kuna watu hapa wa sehemu nyingi, kuna watu wako Marekani, kuna ndugu hapa wako Tanzania na sehemu nyingine za Canada. wengi hawakuweza kufika, lakini tunashukuru mwenye mloweza kuja hapa, kwa sababu wengi mnaonekana mko eager kuja huku, na tunashukuru sana kwa wote mliokuwepo hapa. Tunawashukuru Triponico na representative ambao wameleta hapa kwa kutuelimisha, na washukuru viongozi wa Diaspora ambao wameweka hii session na kujaribu kutuletea education hapa. Tunazo support ndogo ndogo hapa kwenye community yetu ambao tunasaidiana, watu kuwekwa kwenye basement kwa muda, au kumsaidia mtu mwenye nafasi kidogo anasaidia pale panapohitajika. Pia kuna association tunazofanya nazo kazi, ambazo nimetaja mojawapo ni Center for Newcomers, ambayo kama sisi hatuna capacity tunawasiliana nao na wao wana chime in kwenye mambo ya vyakula, accommodation, na hata kuna allowance wanaweza wakasaidia kwa muda wakati mtu anahangaika. Lakini kama John alivyosema, inaonekana ukija kama skilled, kuna kampuni zina support kidogo kabla huja settle. Kwa hiyo labda load kwa Diaspora itakuwa haipo, lakini still pale inapohitajika Diaspora tuna chime in na tunajaribu ku help. I don't want to take a lot of time. I think we've extended a little bit. I have to apologize. Always we tend to underestimate these things, but the questions were asked were all really great, and they were necessary to be answered, because we don't get this opportunity to sit down here and talk to everybody face to face. I think from here to the emails, and these not groups, so they will be going to individuals. Not everybody see what's going on, but please reach out if you've got any questions through the leaders here or through Triponico. You can even carry on by yourself. Unaweza ukaendelea wewe mwenyewe. Just contact Triponico, get the information, set up the thing. We just wanted to show you that this group is at least a group that we know. There are a lot of other companies, a lot of other immigration consultants out there that are doing the same thing, but we've just added into your bucket another option for your choices. So if you feel like these are the people you want them to help you, please reach out and go and ask questions. All right, maybe I would like to close this unless there is anything else to be added.
Kaka Juma, asante. Maybe we could also give an opportunity for the final word from Doreen or the call. You've already directed the people to follow up with the Nico directly, and Dada Catherine amesema kwamba wanaweza wakatuwasiliana na viongozi ama wakaenda moja kwa moja kwa Nico kama wana maswali ili kuendeleza hii. Sasa sijui, nafikiri ingekuwa vyema tukawaruhusu nao waage wahudhuriaji, kama ni Doreen peke yake ama mtu yoyote atakaomchagua. Ili itakuwa jambo jema.
Not too much. I think a lot has already been said. We are just, grateful to have this platform with TCAC and all of the different people that have come through, just to listen, and for us to know, for everybody to know that we are here. Please, after this Zoom, send us an email. If you, for some reason, didn't take it down, contact TCAC leadership, and they will share the information. Go to our website, check that out. And we are here. If we don't have an answer for you, we will find it for you. So we are here for you guys.
Okay. So just a quick one, Doreen, somebody asked me through the text here, just in my phone, that nowadays a lot of people can reach out everybody through WhatsApp, and they wanted to know if you would like your cell phones or something that you would like to share, that if they're not able to write you an email, they can just reach out through a phone or a text or something like that. Just think of it if it's something you prefer using it, but you don't have to answer it here.
No, I can answer that. If that is something that is best. I know that sometimes in Tanzania or back home, it might be easier to just send a WhatsApp message. So that is absolutely fine. We'll send you guys phone numbers, and then we can be contacted through WhatsApp. That would be absolutely okay for those that are not able to send an email.
Thank you, Doreen. Kwa wageni wetu, hawa watu wa Nico wamesema kwamba muendelee kuwasiliana nao, mnaweza mkatembelea website yao, mkawatumia email baada ya hapa. Kaka Juma aliuliza kama wanaweza wakatupatia namba ili mkaweza kuwasiliana nao kwa WhatsApp, kwa sababu kwa WhatsApp instead ya kutuma hiyo email. Kwa hiyo kama labda una document unataka kupiga picha na kutuma, badala ya kwenda cafe ukaingia cafe sijui ukascan utume email, maana hiyo inakuchukua muda na pesa pia. Wakati kwenye simu yako ya mkononi umeshalipia bando la data, unaweza ukapiga tu hapo picha alafu ukatuma kama kwa njia ya WhatsApp. Kwa hiyo dada Doreen atajitolea simu yake ya mkononi ambayo mtaweza kuwasiliana nayo kwa WhatsApp. Basi kwa kufikia hapo nadhani tunaweza tukafunga hiki kikao. Nashukuru sana wageni wetu wa Triponico, Kaka John